we jump into Zionsville introduction of unopposed candidates. And we have District 1 Bob Harris, District 2 Jason Plunkett, District 5 Brad Burke, at-large candidate Evan Norris, at-large candidate Joe Stein, and Judge Samantha Spencer. So we'll start right here. We'll just go right down the list, and you can stand up and tell everyone about you.
So my name is Joe Stein. I've lived in Zionsville a little bit over 30 years. My wife Donna is here tonight. We've got 4 children. 3 have graduated from Zionsville High School. 1 is still in 8th grade. I have served on the school board for 8 years. Got off of the school board in 20. Served alongside some folks who are here this evening. Some great servants. And I just wanted to take a quick second to thank the current town councilors for their service. I know that it's easy to sit back and take shots at people, but it's a lot different when you step up and throw your name in the hat to step into public service. So thank you to you who have willingly taken that step. I have a background in accounting. I'm a CPA. I was the CFO for Taft Law Firm for 15 years. Got to work with some pretty dynamic personalities in a law firm of 400 plus lawyers. And look forward to an opportunity to represent this great town. So thank you again.
Thanks, Joe. I'm Brad Burke, honored to currently serve as an at-large member of the Town Council and Vice President of Town Council. I'm running for re-election in District 5, and I warmly welcome all of your support and help in that campaign. I would also like to thank all the candidates for stepping up today and kind of putting yourself in the arena, so to speak, kind of Teddy Roosevelt quote. I think we all would agree that local government is oftentimes the most important. It should be the most active, it should be the most participatory, and it should be the most collaborative. A bit about me: I am a former high school teacher turned nonprofit executive. I've led the American Cancer Society in Indiana for 25 years. Got 2 degrees from Ball State and a master's degree in business from Notre Dame. Been married for 25 years, and I've got 4 kids between the ages of 11 and 22. Equally important, I am very proud to be a member of this current town council. Thank you for electing me and for trusting me to work for you. Your council has been very committed to responsible and efficient local government, championing balanced budgets, prudent investment for your tax dollars. That was quick.
Hi everyone, my name is Evan Norris. I'm very excited to be here tonight. I want to talk about my top 5 priorities for running for Zionsville Town Council at large. First, I think it's most important that we ensure that the property values in Zionsville remain high, remain with what they are today. I see a recession looming down the line. I want to make sure that at the local government, we're doing everything that we can to sustain property values. Second, I want to make sure that the town is being run with a balanced budget and that we're not tapping into the reserves. Thank you. We need to make sure that we have reserves for emergency purposes, and I think that was best shown especially in 2020. Third, I want to make sure that our police and our firemen and firewomen have all the tools that they need to do their job effectively, and that's especially true with the SROs in our schools that keep our children safe every single day. The fourth, I want to make sure that we amend the town council relationship with the mayor's administration. Fifth, I'm all about infrastructure, and I wish I could talk more about that, but I have time. I'm a lawyer, I'm a father of 4, and my wife Danielle's not here tonight, but I want to give a shout out to her. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you. Thank you to the Boone County Women's Republican Club for this forum. My name is Jason Plunkett. I also want to thank my wife for being here, my mother-in-law for their support, current town council president, District 2 representative. I'm very proud of this town council and the accomplishments that we've had over the last 3 years. We have balanced budgets that have been handed to us in a deficit fashion every single year. I'm proud of that. With the help of Councilor Melton and Councilor Burke, we've also helped to identify staffing shortages in public safety with our police and fire. We funded those shortages to make sure that we could have the appropriate staffing levels. This council's worked alongside the Boone County Sheriff's Office, specific to our school resource officers. We've worked hard to increase connectivity, to improve appropriate contiguous development. I think that's very important that we have appropriate contiguous development. Thank you again for your time here tonight and your support, and look forward to the campaign in the fall. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Samantha Spencer, and I'm currently serving as the Zionsville Town Judge. I was appointed to this position, and I ran in the 2019 election. I've learned since becoming judge that there are some people in our communities that don't know that we have a town court, which is probably a good thing. That means you haven't received a ticket in the town. But we handle traffic infractions, ordinance violations, and parking tickets for the town of Zionsville. Briefly, it's been my commitment that each person that comes through our doors, whether it's a prosecutor, an attorney, the defendant, or a police officer, that they are seen and they're given an opportunity, a fair opportunity to be heard. I understand that this position reflects upon the town of Zionsville, and I see that as a privilege, and I take that role very seriously. I hope I have the opportunity to continue to serve as the town judge for at least another 4.5 years. Thank you.
My name is Bob Harris. My wife Tammy and I live just north of 32, just north of Whitestown. We have two wonderful children, Max and Sarah, and they're third-generation Zionsville residents. I currently am involved in commercial development in Zionsville, businesses such as Bubs, Rosie's. Now, with our new addition of Bird Egg up at Appaloosa Crossing, anybody like any of those? So I'm going to be focused on bringing great businesses to Zionsville, working with the current tenants in downtown Zionsville to make sure that we keep our same quality of life and safety, the bricks, our schools strong, and I'm really excited. I'm not able to announce yet tonight that I have the sheriff's endorsement, but I'm hoping to get that soon. Thanks.
Thanks, Bob.
All right, give it up for our candidates. Town Council District 3 candidates. That would be Kyle Campbell, Kendrick Davis, and Craig Milton. All right, just so you know, for the questions portions, we actually submitted, we had members of the Boone County Republican Women's Club submit their questions prior to this event. The questions then went to a selection committee consisting of the executive committee of the Boone County Republican Women's Club. And the candidates, again, like I said earlier, did not know of any of the questions. Yes. Oh, and just so you know, we're going to hold, now that we're getting into the questions format, we're going to ask that you hold your applause until after all the candidates are done and have shared what they want to share, and then the new candidates are coming. So, without further ado, we're going to start first with Kyle Campbell. Kyle, you have 1 minute to introduce yourself.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. My name is Kyle Campbell. I'm running for Zionsville Town Council District 3. I'm originally from Elwood. I've lived in Zionsville 12 years. My grandparents, I do have deep roots here. My grandparents have lived here for 50 years. I'm running on 3 principles: new possibilities, real leadership, working for you. I believe there's a need for better communication, transparency with the mayor's office, as well as public safety. First responders should be first and foremost top priorities. Thank you.
We'll go to Kendrick next.
Yes.
Yep.
Good evening. My name is Kendrick Davis. I'm very excited to see this many people involved in local politics and everybody that took their time out this evening. I am a blessed husband, father of 3, and I grew up in Seattle, Washington, but I graduated from Avon High School. I was a Zionsville firefighter for about 8 years. A year ago, in January, I transferred over to the Whitestown Fire Department, and it's allowed myself to take part in local government in Zionsville. I live in Perry Township, which is a big part of District 3, and I'm very excited to be able to represent everybody in District 3 with it being one of the most diverse districts in Zionsville. I have a unique perspective of having the relationship with people within the town currently, and I think that's going to be important moving forward with the healing that needs to take place. And again, it's just been an honor to meet the people that I've met so far. I'm very excited to hopefully represent the town of Zionsville.
I don't need an introduction, I don't think. I've been on the Zionsville Town Council for the past 3.5 years. I'm Craig Melton. I've represented Zionsville on the district for 3.5 years now, and it's not been the easiest ride. But I will tell you that I'm a family man. I've got 4 beautiful children and a beautiful wife that are all here tonight. And I'm also an entrepreneur, a business owner, and I'm a self-proclaimed visionary, visionary for your town. Now more than ever, we need an experienced council, one that will work with the next mayor to improve the town council's credit ratings, as well as build back that trust that we so need with all of you. Zionsville is a colorful and desirable place. Because of this, growth is imminent. It's coming. I will continue to vote in a way that protects Zionsville's property values. I will continue to vote to protect Zionsville's charm and heritage. I will do this all while growing Zionsville harmoniously. I will also continue to vote. Thank you.
It goes by fast, doesn't it? I'm a pastor, and they say, you preach for 45 minutes. I look, it felt like 5. It felt like 5 minutes. It goes by quick. All right, so we're going to start with Kyle. First question that we have is, what areas do you think Zionsville excels in, and where are we challenged?
We definitely excel in our parks and recreation departments. The carpenter, conservative, the natures, all the parks. Where do we struggle? Was that?
Or where are we challenged?
Where are we challenged? I wouldn't say we're challenged, but there needs to be better communication with the mayor's office. We need a balanced budget, just a better communication and transparency.
Great, thank you. We'll go to Kendrick next.
So I agree with Kyle. We do a wonderful job with our parks departments, with our trails, incorporating our community. And I think that's felt. When you come to Zionsville, when you go to the Brick Street, it feels cozy, it feels like home. We're also very diverse with all of the commercial aspects of Zionsville. As far as challenges, the challenges moving forward is going to be, how do we incorporate Perry Township? How do we incorporate the area that we have annexed, and how do we include them in our town? And then how do we better our communication? How do we heal the relationships that have been affected these past 3 years? And how do we move forward in a manner that not only protects the town's employees, but the town's citizens, with balanced budgets, with growth in rural areas, such as Lebanon is dealing with. And in order to do that, you need to plan for the future. And that's where we have fallen short. Talking to a couple department heads, Perry Township isn't even anybody's 5-year plan. So it's going to be important to really incorporate the whole of Zionsville.
My first response will be public safety. I think we've really excelled in public safety. I think Zionsville just was named the safest town in the state of Indiana. 5th is Carmel, so I know we don't like to compare to Carmel, but I think it's a good way to say we're not like Carmel because they're 5th. So I will say also, that's an accelerant. I will say as a contractor, I don't know if I got to that, but as a contractor, I will say that helping contractors in Zionsville is something that I've struggled with. Being a contractor, there's ordinances that prevent certain aspects of that business in town. Not saying we want to help them, but we just need to figure out a way that we can all work together and support smaller businesses like that here in Zionsville overall. So I think public safety is the good, and then I think we need to work to help the small businesses a little more.
Okay. And Craig, we're going to start with you on this question. Okay. And kind of goes along with what you were just saying. Where does public safety rank in your list of priorities and why?
Well, ironically, on my short little list here, public safety is number 1. This is what I was going to read to you. Today it is the safest town in Indiana. Your current council has voted to fully fund equipment and trainings requested by the police department and the fire department. That's huge. It's not that we didn't question it. We looked at it, and our fire department, our police department, They train a lot. I've taken several of the trainings with both departments as a civilian, and it's very much a lot of work. It's a lot of heartache. It's hard. If you visit my CraigMeltonForCouncil.com page, you'll see some of my stories there, working with the fire department. I've taken de-escalation training with the police department. It's just an interesting practice, and I would say that public safety is our #1 priority when it comes to funding in Zionsville. And I think it comes together with that Zionsville being #1, the safest community. So.
And we'll go to Kendrick next.
Thank you.
Well, obviously, being a firefighter, public safety to me is very important. And I agree with Craig that the Zionsville Council, and working as somebody in public safety, as a firefighter paramedic for Zionsville, we have amazing equipment, amazing training opportunities. The police department, knowing those people so well, we are really given the best of the best as far as training opportunities and equipment. So it's going to be important to grow that. It's going to be important to continue to support that. And that includes not just being reactionary, but forecasting that out. Do we have enough staff to cover all of the schools? Do we have enough staff to cover Perry Township? Do we have enough equipment to do those things? And not only that, but we need to not only be able to draw in the best, but we need to be able to keep the best and keep the people that we've invested all of this time and energy into. And that's very important. So public safety does rank very high on my list, especially personally.
I agree with both Craig and Kendrick. I met with both Chief Spears and Chief Van Gorder, two great leaders in those departments. They run an awesome department. I think they could use a little bit more funding. I believe the police department is $13 million $13 million a year, and the fire department is roughly $19 million. Since the chief of police was able to hire 5 more officers, which is good for our town. Our town has grown 5% every year since 2018. That's concerning to me. We need to do a little bit more. We need to put more money in their budget.
All right, would you give it up for District 3? Candidates from Zionsville, that would be Heather Lusk, Dick Hopler, and Sarah Sampson. Okay. All right. We're going to start with Heather, then we'll go to Dick, and then Sarah with your 1-minute introductions.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Heather Lusk. I've lived in Zionsville for 15 years with my husband and teenage daughters who attend Zionsville schools. I've been heavily involved in the community, from PTO president of the Village Residents Association, secretary for Sullivan Muntz Board, volunteering with St. Francis Church, the After Prom, the Farmers Market, and many other organizations. I've participated in our town government for more than a decade, attending more than 100 meetings and spending dozens of hours in discussions with groups like those commissioned by the town to address the zoning issues. I've invested this time because I really want to help residents understand how our town operates and make a difference in our community. Professionally, my expertise is in marketing, public relations, and journalism. Researching solutions, implementing them, and synthesizing information is what I do the best. As I demonstrated at the Indianapolis Colts and with Eli Lilly. And as a freelance writer, I ask the right questions and understand what constituents really want. I aim to be their voice.
Good evening. Thanks for having me tonight. I think it's a true testament to what a special community that we have, that there's so many talented individuals that want to get involved in our local government. We all bring a little something different to the table. What I bring to the table is I have been in private law practice for 15 years. I was recently told by a federal court judge that, there's two kinds of lawyers. There's those that make problems, and there's those that solve problems. I'm the kind that solves problems, and that's what we need right now. I have a beautiful wife, Audra, and we have 4 children together. 2 girls, 2 boys right now. They're at 9, 10, 12, and 13, so really fun ages. I have been involved in public service in a neighboring community, which I will remain nameless for the moment, but I served as vice president of their Parks Board, and before that, secretary of the Parks Board. And I will be able to hit the ground running with this job, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Okay, so I started my journey with government as an intern for Mayor Bill Hudnut in 1991. So I do have a key to the city of Indianapolis. The calling to become a part of Zionsville's town government actually began with my run for school board that many of you are familiar with. I was hoping to implement industrial arts and home economics back into the schools so the kids could learn with their hands. Unfortunately, I lost that campaign, but when I woke up the morning after the election, I realized I still had a job to do that very day as president of the PTO. So I got up, put my jeans on, and I went and served. Because I didn't do it for glory, I didn't do it for power. I did it because that's who I am, and that's who I want us to be at Zionsville. I want everyone to love Zionsville as much as I do. I grew up around the corner. I lived on Eagle Creek Nursery, and I have put my 10 kids through Zionsville schools. I am a proactive leader who utilizes my passion for serving, and I will not sit on the sidelines. I'll make decisions with financials because I'm a CPA.
All right, question one, we'll start with Heather, then go to Nick, and then Sarah. Candidates for Zionsville Town Council often state the goal of preserving the town of Zionsville's quaint village character. Now that the rural land around the village has been incorporated into the town of Zionsville, how would you achieve keeping Zionsville's quaint village character?
Thank you. That is a big priority of mine. But quaint village character can mean all sorts of different things. It's the bricks, it's the parks that we have, the incredible trails that surround Zionsville. We've also got the rural areas. We have so much diverse topography in Zionsville and so many diverse places for people to go that it's such an attraction. And my goal is to make sure that we maintain that uniqueness that we have all throughout Zionsville, especially in the village where I live, because that is a big draw. In particular, protecting the business owners, because they are the ones who really rely upon folks to come to their doorstep and purchase things and shop at the restaurants. And if we can attract some amenities and some more businesses that are unique, that will drive more visitors into town, that will help everybody in the long run.
Everyone that lives in Zionsville and loves living here knows what a special place it is and what a sense of community we have and how important it is to preserve that. And the way that we need to do that is through public-private partnerships. We're at a very unique point in our history where there's going to be a lot of development. The growth is already here. It's going to happen. The more we engage in public-private partnerships, the more we're going to be able to shape our future in a way that preserves our charm and our character in a way that will last forever. Thank you.
I too love the charm of Zionsville. I lived in this area when the train tracks went down the street, so I learned how to driving over those train tracks, and I feel like that has been something that has totally made my commitment to keeping Zionsville so special and unique and charming. I feel like we cannot ignore the fact that we are going to keep growing. We do need more parking. We do need to redo the gateway area so that we have traffic flowing, and yet keep areas where we can have extra businesses. I would love the idea of a private and public partnership. I have a great idea of us developing an entertainment corridor over on 106 so we could put maybe a bowling alley with the town council working to bring this kind of business there. And then the parents, while they drop off their kids there, they go shop at the shops. We need to bring people to our area, including the West Carmel people, to spend their money and help our town. Are you saying time? Yes. Okay. You were holding yellow. That's fine.
All right, we'll start with you, Sarah. What would be your top budget priority as councilor?
So one thing that we have all loved about Zionsville, and we get touted on in the rankings about being safe, I would continue to keep safety as our top priority because we are growing at a rapid pace, and if we don't increase our safety units at the same pace, then we have trouble lurking in people coming up Michigan Road, knowing that we're vulnerable with more people than we have protection. And that goes along with the fire departments as well. We have a lot of shifting that's going to happen with that because we have grants that are going to run out on 3 of our fire departments that are being paid that way. We have a volunteer fire department over in Perry. These are things we have to take in consideration as we continue to grow. I just think that as far as the schools, we are responsible to keep that symbiotic relationship. If our schools fail, we fail as a town. And so it's great that we have taken initiative so that we do have the extra funding toward the SROs. We have increased safety at the schools, and I think that's super important. So that's my number 1.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes, what would be your top budget priority as counselor?
Yeah, top budget priority or related to the budget as counselor, my top priority would be to restore the town's bond rating. I think we need to restore efficiency and transparency between the council and the mayor's office, and by doing so, we need to balance the budget and restore the bond rating. I think that's priority number 1. Following that, we need to have our first responders funded properly, prepare for growth. We need to be able to hire new firefighters, new officers, and give them the equipment they need to do their jobs, and we need to pay them competitive salaries and give them raises as they earn it through merit. And if we can do that, we're going to maintain the number 1 safest community in Indiana, and that needs to be a rating that is maintained throughout our future. And but we have to have a balanced budget to do that.
Certainly, the first priority is to make sure that the accounting software is working properly and that everyone is able to see exactly what documents, you're laughing, but this is accurate, right? We need to make sure that everyone can actually get the financial reports that they need. That's number 1, and hopefully that's happening right now and will be in place by the end of the year. There also is some COVID money that is not being accessed, but I hope can be before it is no longer available to Zionsville. And then also, certainly we have to make sure that we are funding our first responders along with growth. That is extremely important, but we also need to make sure we take care of infrastructure. To me, that's a big priority because as we continue to grow, as we continue to develop, we need to make sure we have the right traffic patterns to manage all of this development. When I grew up in Atlanta, they had big growth before they had a traffic pattern in place, and that's why Atlanta has a reputation for being a hard place to drive around. We don't want that to happen to Zionsville because then people will avoid us instead of embracing us.
All right, would you give it up for Candy? John Steyer and Jane Burgess. Would you come to the give it up for them? All right, John and Jane, we will start with your 1-minute introductions. So, John, we'll just start right here with you.
Well, thank you very much. My name is John Steyer, and I'm running for mayor in Zionsville because from my view as president of the Parks Board, I see the communication has completely broken down in our town hall. As a 42-year career in broadcasting, I understand how communications can make a difference, and I will use my communication skills for Zionsville's benefit. Communication is a skill that requires listening, it requires transparency, it requires empathy, and it requires the ability to articulate a vision that people can get behind and people can coalesce behind so you can reach the goals that you want to reach. I have a vision for Zionsville that includes responsible growth over a long period of time, and I also believe that we should get our fair share of Central Indiana's economic pie. I think it's important that we start doing that. We haven't been doing that in the last couple of years. So in conclusion, I just want to say that
I'm proud to have called Zionsville home for the past 21 years. My husband of 31 years, Claude, and I have raised our family here. And over the past 2 decades, not only have I volunteered and served in our community, but I've been able to serve on boards including Habitat for Humanity of Boone County, the Hussey Mayfield Library Foundation, and the Lions Club. I also have been so honored to have served for 12 years on the Zionsville School Board. In all my years of leadership, I've learned the importance of listening, collaborating, and problem solving. And this is what the portfolio I will bring to not only increasing the challenges and the opportunities that we have here in Zionsville, that I will be able to bring that to the office of mayor. What I want to accomplish as mayor are a few things. The first being smart economic development, and with that we work out the infrastructure and okay.
It goes fast. It goes fast. No. We're going to start. First question with you, Jane. As Zionsville's housing market is exploding, what are your thoughts on high-density housing?
So I believe that high-density housing is going to be a part of the future, but as we look ahead, we need to plan for the future with a vision. And I think what's happened in Zionsville in the past is we've kind of been like just things happening around us without having a master plan of how we want to develop. So for high-density housing, I think that it will be coming in the growth that we've been talking about tonight. So let's get ahead with a vision so that we're providing opportunities where we have housing that will be affordable to our kids and young people, maybe empty nesters. And I think that it starts with a plan on us working together to plan for the future. So I do think that high-density housing will be very important. So with that, I think it's extremely important that that we also have, a planned growth for our economic development, and so that will be very important going forward.
One of the concerns that I've heard most from people as I've gone around town knocking on doors, running for mayor, is that young people can't afford to live in Zionsville. They often live in Whitestown, and they use Zionsville schools, hoping someday to move into Zionsville. I think high-density housing has to be part of the mix going forward. Then in addition to that, we need to bring in infrastructure. We need to bring in the right mix of businesses as well. For us to have quality of life, those of us who are already here, and for those who are coming in to have quality of life, we have to make sure that the public services meet the needs of those people. We need to make sure that there are businesses like dentist's office and dry cleaners and things like that, because that will also change our tax base so that we're not, 80% of our tax base isn't coming from property taxes. We need to get that down and get the business contribution to our tax base up, and that is what is going to lead us into the future in a more positive way.
All right, John, we'll start with you. What, in your opinion, makes you the most qualified candidate to oversee the executive branch in Zionsville?
Well, as I said, I have a long history in communications. And again, communications is going to be what leads us forward. Poor communication has gotten us to the point where we are today. Good communication is going to be getting us out. And I believe that I bring that to the table. I understand how to articulate a message. I understand how to get people to coalesce behind that message and to repeat it and to push it forward in a positive way, again and again and again until it takes hold. I think one thing that's very important is that the narrative around Zionsville has changed in the last couple of years, and it's not as positive as it used to be. So we bring in signature events. We talk about them again in a clear, concise, positive way. We do it again and again and again. And eventually that narrative is going to change. After so many years in the communication business, I do understand how that works. I do understand the importance of it. And that's what I'm going to bring to the table for the town of Zionsville.
Very simply, I think what I bring to the table is leadership and experience. I've served on the Zionsville School Board for 12 years. For over 20 years, I've been very plugged into the community, not only leading organizations, but serving on boards. And so for me, leadership means that I have been there, involved in making a difference in our community. So to me, leadership in being in the mayor's office, not only does it involve like the opportunity that I've had to have deep relationships here with many of you that I see out here in the audience, and just in being really plugged into the community, I think it's a very, it's a difference that kind of sets my leadership apart from my opponents. And so I do think that it will be extremely important to have had those very deep relationships and my involvement in leading many organizations and being able to give back to the community in that way.
All right, give it up for our mayoral candidate.